This is it, guys. Get into this game. This is it. This is the deciding match. Amazon versus Google, game number 3.
And we are loading in. Something we didn't really mention is there's some pretty solid bling on both of these teams. They've got some diamond players as well as some platinum players. So these guys are no slouches.
No, not at all. And they've got a decent amount of skin actually going on as well. I think it was KT Flash. I can't remember actually which mid laner it was. It was saying basically I want to take the most skins into the game because if you look cooler, then you've already won. You know, you've at least got the style points coming out here. And we're seeing this is I believe this is the Subterranean Nautilus. Is that he's not going to be a diver this game? He's actually going to be a miner. Yeah, you see that spinning drill boat there. It's going to be a miner Nautilus instead of diver Nautilus.
He's going to be drilling all day, and he's hopefully going to be able to drill a hole in the Amazon defenses. We'll have to see what he's going to be able to do. But Nautilus is that kind of a champion that can be a little bit tricky to get going. But once he gets going, he is a monster.
All right, so we get everybody lined up here. AD carries, but starting with Doran's Blades. Check out the lifesteal, 7% on Caitlyn. Interesting. So going with the masteries and then just 2 runes. So we're going to have 1 extra AD rune there. 6% on Weegao, so no masteries and just the lifesteal quints there.
And that's an interesting meta shift, actually, where with the Doran's Blade start, where people they've figured out that they need lifesteal, but they want to start Doran's Blade because it's the most effective item. Before that, you would see a lot of a longsword 2 potion, and full lifesteal quints. But now they decided that with the unique passive on the Doran's Blade, it just makes a lot more sense to go for it and manufacture the lifesteal somewhere else.
Exactly, and the other thing that this allows is for champions that want to go for a really fast Infinity Edge that don't necessarily need that much lifesteal, they can just take the 6% or even 9% out of the Masteries and the Quints, and they can just stack 1, maybe 2 Doran's Blades if they're feeling a little bit threatened and they want the extra HP, and then just go straight in for the Infinity Edge, and they don't lose out on on not having any sustain.
They certainly will, as Boley starting onto those Wolves. Going to pick those up, and a standard start, probably for one of the first times in this best of 3 series. In game 1, it was a blue swap. Game 2, a little bit of early pressure from both teams, but now Nautilus, an interesting choice actually. Raven Knight starting on the red buff on Nautilus, so he's going to go for some early ganks.
He could be either going for early ganks, or this could just be a matter of they want to get the timing down just right. He's going to be he's going to save his smite. He's going to get plenty of help coming out there from Yarius. He's going to be able to come up, and I think what they're going to try to do is apply a lot of pressure in the game very early on in the top lane. Because Singe is a champion. If you can shut him down early, you can really stop him from ever snowballing. But if he's ever allowed to get his legs under him, he's going to use those legs to just run away from you again and again and again, and you're never going to be able to do anything about it. So what I'm expecting is the fast blue buff getting picked up here by Raven Knight. He's going to hit level 3 with double buffs, and he's just going to go up to the top lane and try to get that snowball rolling the other way.
He definitely could. DJC is a prime ganking target on that Singe, but this top lane, Singe is not a very strong early laner, but Malphite doesn't have the ability to really push him out, and Malphite can get pushed back to his turret. That's exactly what DJC is going to do. This is his go-to champion on the Singed, and he is just pushing and pretending that he's the only person in the lane.
And that's, I mean, at a certain point, that's what you have to do as Singe. You just have to be like, what, another champion? Nah, I'm just going to push. Nah, I'm fine. Don't even sweat it. I'm just going to keep pushing.
Yeah, no problem. I'm Singed. Wait, there are other champions in this game?
I
was just going to run and poison. I thought I was just poisoning the air, but that's what happens when you're a mad chemist. You just forget that other people exist.
So we see Nautilus just trying to get around what he thought was the ward up in the top lane. He ended up walking through another ward, so he's going to get spotted out. Here's a little bit of a trade in the mid lane. KT Flash coming out ahead of that. The Orianna pass is doing a lot of work with his auto attacks.
Yes, they certainly are, and that is going to be an interesting matchup to watch, the KT Flash Orianna versus Wirage's Rise, especially because of the ability for Orianna to zone early, and that is going to play into KT Flash's hands exceptionally well, because we said it before that Rise doesn't farm that well under his turret, and Orianna just loves to push. She just loves to push, and she also has really devastating auto attacks.
Exactly. He can just throw the shield up on himself, walk forward, and just right-click trade with Rise. And unless Rise is able to get 2 or even 3 spells down and a couple right-clicks, he's not going to come out ahead. And if he does that this early on, without a blue buff, without a Tear of the Goddess, he's just going to end up going and losing all of his lane pressure.
He's pushing in now, and it's going to be Frozen Fire being pushed back a little bit. He does have the Fairy Charm, though, so that's going to help him out as we have a pause coming out really quickly. We have to take a look, see what the problem is. But in the meantime, let's take a look at this opening. It's going to be actually Tomato Orange pulling ahead fairly extensively. 25 minion kills to AHGL's 14, although that's not really surprising considering it's the Vayne, but it is surprising considering that AHGL already grabbed the double Doran's Blade, so he was looking for some early aggression to be able to catch someone out with the Nami bubble.
Yeah, and he also just wants to add up the additional sustain. This is what we talked about in Game 1 when we talked about the Vayne versus Caitlyn 2v2 matchup. Whenever Vayne comes in for a CS, she's going to end up eating a lot of auto attacks from Caitlyn. And if those auto attacks happen to be headshots, it's going to be that much worse. So putting on that second Doran's Blade, getting 10 HP per auto attack instead of 5, is going to help out a lot as she tries to just stick around in that lane and get a little bit of a sustain going on. The 6% lifesteal isn't going to keep up with the 7% that Caitlyn's running. Of course, that's not particularly significant, but hey, it's another percent. Another percent sometimes will make the difference. Math is
all
good.
day.
But in the mid lane, basically we're seeing exactly what we expected out of this early game. Singed and Malphite are mostly going to ignore each other and try to farm up, maybe a little harass here and there. In the bottom lane, Caitlyn's going to dominate just because of the extra range she has and the auto attack power she has. Vayne's going to try to struggle through the early game. If she can get into the mid towards the late game, she's going to be able to turn into that hyper carry Vayne. And in the mid lane, Orianna's just pushing Ryze into the tower, just out CSing him on the basis of her auto attacks being souped up by the passive, and just winning in the trades as well.
So that's probably going to be a Chalice coming out from Orianna as a first item, mitigate a little bit of that Ryze burst. Ryze, on the other hand, going to go for the Tear of the Goddess to try and amp that damage as fast as he possibly can. And I really like this matchup so much in the mid on the side of Google. On Google, because of the fact that the Orianna build path is going to counteract whatever burst Ryze is going to be able to turn out.
And I expect to see the early Athene's Unholy Grail on Orianna just because it's going to be so effective with this lineup. The cooldown reduction is going to be critical. A little bit of extra ability power, 80 extra ability power actually is pretty potent as well. But as you said, it's going to be all about the magic resist that's going to allow her to stand and go for mid-game trades against Ryze, which is one of the areas, if he gets a couple early mana items, he can be extremely terrifying.
He certainly can be. In the top lane, two big dudes just beating each other up. No real difference between them. The Malphite versus the Singed. That is going to be the front line for both of these teams, and I don't really think the laning phase is going to tell the tale as much. It's going to be about the jungler pressure within that laning phase, because if they're left alone in a 1v1, they're both just going to sit there and farm.
Exactly, and as far as the junglers themselves, they're both gonna try to achieve basically the same objective. They both just want to get really, really tanky, apply a little bit of pressure in the lanes, and wait for the team fight phase.
As some pain coming out from AHGL, that double Doran's Blade already starting to pay dividends because he is sustaining out of this poke so nicely. He's opting to be able to taking a Caitlyn trap for himself. That's normally you see the supports taking that, so good guy AHGL. Taking that trap.
Yeah, he knows he's the one that's setting the sustain. He'll be able to just pick that up relatively quickly. Doesn't want to force this out. The pink ward's going down. They'll both fall at the same time, so no one's going to have sight of that brush.
It's going to be battle of attrition, and now Tomato Orange and Yarius. That's the only downside of having the Zyra support, is that there is no sustain, and Nami doesn't have a whole lot, but it's going to be a lot better than Yarius is as Tomato Orange gets caught out by the bubble, and KT Flash potentially looking to get dove, but Bolly is very low. He's out of mana, and he does not have the ultimate. And these towers, Malphus, we haven't even mentioned that today. These towers hit so much harder than they used to.
Exactly. It's very people are going to be a lot more hesitant about going for early game dives than they would in the past. In the bottom lane, I want to give just a quick shout out to Yarius. That grasping roots was so good as the bubble landed on his AD carry. But here's maybe the engagement in mid. No.
KT Flash with a shield, able to get out of there. That's the other thing about Orianna. If you try to burst her down, she's got the shield, which a lot of times can actually negate the ignite.
Yeah, if you get the timing just right, you can mitigate most, if not all, of the damage. And it's just so important that he puts that on before he goes in for the trade. If it's command protect and then a full combo and Ryze trades back, even if he trades back an even amount of damage, the shield is going to soak up so much of that he's going to start falling further and further behind every time he tries to go for that. The chalice already built up on Orianna, so that extra magic resistance plus the mana regen is going to allow her to spam out all of those skills that she needs to win those trades.
And Frozen Fire pounding the ground and getting flipped at the same time. That was actually a pretty interesting percussive effect. But now, interesting DJC starting to pull ahead, and Singed is an excellent farmer as Malphite really requires so much mana to be able to farm out. Singed has that mana crystal, is going to be working his way into a Catalyst, potentially a Rod of Ages as well. That is definitely core. And AHGL taking some pain, stepping on a trap. He's got sustain, but it's tough to be stepping on a trap when you got Caitlyn auto attacks coming in as well.
Exactly, it's going to be rough, and Nami has just about oomed herself trying to cast enough heals to keep them in this lane. It's going to cut down on the aggression that they're capable of by quite a bit. If you can't throw down the heal with its burst as long as somebody's standing near it as well, plus the bubbles, it's going to be really, really tough for Amazon to continue applying pressure.
It certainly will. Frozen Fire at his lane. I'm curious to see when Ravenite, we haven't seen hide nor hair of Ravenite yet in this game, so he's gonna have to make something happen pretty soon, as Frozen Fire is at 50% health. He's chugging down those potions, and he's got the Chalice of Harmony. That's only gonna sustain him for so long.
Exactly, so neither jungler has really made a huge impact on the lanes just yet. Bully going to go ahead and hand the blue buff up to Raji. That's going to be a huge help. I expect to see Orianna pick that up as well, because Ryze, if he's the one that has the cooldown reduction and Orianna doesn't, if he's the one that has the mana regen and just can spam out again and again and again, that's going to do a lot to get him back in this lane, which he's actually done a pretty efficient job of on his own. When we were at the pause, we saw that there was at least a noticeable CS gap between Orianna and Ryze, and now at this point, because Raji's in the lane farming and KT Flash isn't, he has now taken the lead.
Definitely has. And looking at the bottom lane, as Frozen Fire actually puts some pain down on DJC, forcing the Ultra Mega Adhesive, because Ravenite is there. Ghost being popped from DJC. He gets slowed immediately. Can Ravenite get injured? There's the ultimate, and that's going to be a fast first blood from Ravenite, picking up that kill. And the speed control on that Singed was so expertly played by Frozen Fire.
Yeah, they waited it out. They waited until they knew they had the exact moment. Ravenite even flashed forward just to absolutely ensure that they're going to be able to pick that up. Maybe it was a little bit of overkill just because Unstoppable Force is so good, but here's the ult in the mid lane. Not going to be enough.
Oh, we thought it was going to be a bursty kill. That's what you see from Orianna. She chunks you down, she lulls you into a false sense of security, and she just fires off the shockwave. Overcharge being popped now from Wiraji, trying to get some of that health back, but he's just getting zoned at this point. KT Flash doing micro adjustments as Bully once again takes first Drake, soloing it. What level is he? He's level 6. Pop, once he has his ultimate, that is the danger of the jungle Nasus.
Exactly, that's one of the greatest strengths of Jungle Nasus, and you must ward the dragon early and aggressively. Even if they had warded it, I don't know that they could have done too much, just because while Google have said, look, we pick team compositions that excel at fighting. That's really our big goal. We want to be able to fight really, really well. In this situation, they also have a team composition that's excellent at pressuring lanes. Caitlyn can put a lot of pressure on Vayne. Orianna can put a lot of pressure on Ryze. So even if Amazon knew what was going on, they had nobody that could be in position to try to do anything about it.
They really couldn't, and there are the buys coming out, but Ravenite getting flipped out by DJC, but he gets hooked immediately and he gets snared as well, but Frozen Fire does not have the damage to knock out a Singed who has his Insanity Potion. DJC chugging away, he's got the Catalyst now, and he's just going to go back to farming. 10 minion kills up, but in the mid lane, Chalice and Tyr being picked up, so KT Flash going to be able to sit in that lane forever and farm.
Exactly, and when Raji has also, I said earlier, I made a big joke about the O and the N being silent, but at that time I totally fell into that one. He's got the Ruby Crystal as well, so he's going to be trying to grab up the Catalyst as quickly as he can. A little bit of extra sustain always going to help out, and not to mention, the Rod of Ages has kind of become the standard first buy item on Ryze, unless you're like massively behind, which he's not, just a little bit. But again, just give big props to KT Flash for controlling this lane, utilizing Orianna's superior range, and just continuing to abuse that and pick up a CS lead.
And as this game continues on, this is a much slower game, although I will say game two definitely slowed down, and every single one of these games has been slower than game one, because game one was just like pedal to the metal. Full way in, 11 minutes and 30 seconds into this game. Adhesive being popped up from DJC as Wiraji comes in, going for the tower dive. 3 members are actually there. Bully going in, getting from the flip, and now Frozen Fire going down. Bully getting the kill. The Unstoppable Force was burned as well. Nami dropping the bubble, and in the bottom lane, the counter push onto this turret. This is going to be first turret coming out for Google. Well played by them.
Yeah, so you see, just like at Amazon, they orchestrated a nice 3-man dive. We're able to pick up the kill in the top lane. KT Flash responding to that to keep there from being too much tower pressure, and Google are able to answer back. So they end up trading a kill for a tower, and that's going to be good to set up about a 400 or 500 gold lead in favor of Google right now. If Amazon can get this tower down, they'll be in a pretty good spot, but they're going to get collapsed upon by 4 people here in just a moment.
Google is on their way to try and collapse on this, but Bully and Wiraji able to get out of there. I don't think the ground rooters are actually going to hit both people. Teleport coming in to try and counter this one, the knock-up as well, but there's Rolling trying to disengage this one out. Shockwave getting Bully. Bully's going to go down. Raven not getting credit for the kill. DJC now doing what Singed does best, running past people. And KT Flash going to be backing off. Flash coming in from Frozen Fire. They're trying to drop DJC, but DJC is going to be able to get out. Ace in the hole. DJC, what a bro. Taking a bullet for his buddy.
He was just like, I've got an insanity potion burning, I've got the armor, I'm fine. If I tell myself I'll be fine, I'll believe it. And he wanted to soak that up because he knew he didn't have enough HP to stick around.
Tomato Orange going extremely low, but he life steals out of it, sub 100 HP, and he even had a headshot ready to go in case Rajay didn't go down. That is the bait when you're low and your opponent is low and you think that you can get him, but you just don't have enough damage, and Google able to lock up Rajay, successfully save their AD carry.
I kind of wonder if DJC actually baited him into that, because the reason he stepped forward was he said, okay, I'm melee range, I can't do anything. I'm not going to be able to stick around and try to defend this. I'll take the ace in the hole so that my Ryze doesn't lose his HP, and maybe he'll be able to stick around and actually make a play. As it was, the play he made was getting hit by the Nautilus hook and well, taking the short trip back to the fountain.
He certainly is. As we approach the 14-minute mark, Frozenfire potentially getting caught out. Spiritfire goes slow coming out from Bolly, so he's not going to be able to do a whole lot. Baron actually going to be spawning in about a minute. Rajay stepping on a trap. Man, he probably hates those traps at this point. And some slow coming out. Good poke from KT Flash onto Bolly. And now Amazon are actually moving as a full unit. They want to make something happen. They want to make these catches happen.
Yeah, we talked about them earlier on wanting to control jungle camps and control buffs and stuff like that. That's what they were trying to do there. They muscled their way forward. They put a ward down onto the blue buff, and then they recognized that they just weren't going to have the pressure. They weren't going to have the damage. They weren't going to have the tankiness to really take that down. So they're just going to go ahead and back away. They'll settle for actually putting the blue buff on Wiraji this time around. So he's going to have that cooldown reduction. He's going to have that mana regen. It's going to help him stack up that tier of the goddess that much faster, and it's going to accelerate his damage growth through the mid game.
As DJC puts some pressure down onto this top lane, Frozenfire, he's desperately trying to fend off DJC, not by attacking him, but by clearing the way, because the turrets are going to do more damage than he actually will. Has the Merc Treads as well as the cloth armor, so he could be rolling his way into something. I'm a little surprised to not see the Glacial Shroud out of him, but considering his matchup, it makes a lot of sense. But Glacial Shroud, it's one of those items that you almost always see on a Malphite because it gives him really everything he needs.
I think he might have recognized that he didn't have enough gold to really save up and try to do that. He needed to buy a little bit more early magic resistance, and the cloth armor to me indicates he's going to go for the fast Warden's Mail first. I do still expect Frozen Heart will probably be the first item that he picks up. Well, actually he may not. He may just go for the Randuin's first, because he's pretty beefy and he can put himself in the front line and make Vayne hit him, and there's really only one right click on this side. DJC is going to get hooked in, but I mean, he's Sin. He's the tankiest guy on the team. They're not going to be too concerned about that.
Sin is hitting the point where he becomes a lot more difficult to kill. His early laning, while not as strong, is nowhere compared to how difficult he is and how much of a pain in the butt, to be quite frank, he is going into the mid game. And as he scales into the late game, seeing how much gold he has in his pocket, almost 1,000 gold in his pocket, so he could go back, grab a blast one. But it looks like Ravenknight picking out Wiraji. Ravenknight getting snared. The Rolling Tides going out. This Zyra snare. Stranglethorns knocking up Bolly. Tomato Orange actually be taking out Wiraji. AHGL has popped his ultimate, but now he is being chased down by that pesky Malphite. Team is split though. Now this is a 5v4 situation, 4v4 now as AHGL rolling his way through this team. This is the Vayne that you want to be afraid of, as DJC disrupting as best he can. AHGL being backed off. KT Flash is trying to throw the ball around as long as he can, and Tomato Orange is somehow still alive as finally Tomato Orange going down, and that is actually going to be an insane double kill. More than that, that's going to be 3 kills now for AHGL and a full ace for Amazon.
Unbelievable play there coming out from Amazon. They just baited out. They maintained the pacing of the fight. That was really what it was all about. They controlled the pacing of the fight. I talked before about how important that Nami ultimate was going to be. It completely broke up the combo from Yarius. He didn't use the Stranglethorns at all when he wanted to. They couldn't get any lockdown onto AHGL. Or actually, they were on the Wiraji first, is the one that they tried to take down. Wiraji was able to escape to the side, and give some props over here to AHGL. He was very patient. He waited for the command Shockwave to come out from KT Flash. He saved a tumble just to make sure that he could get himself out of that one. And you saw at the end of the fight how low his HP was when he finished up Flash. If that Shockwave had hit him, he would have been nowhere near the rest of that fight.
And that was the team fight that could potentially start to open up this game for Amazon. We've seen them take an advantage and roll with it. In game 1, it was that triple kill onto Elise. Now it's a triple kill onto a Vayne. If Elise is scary with a triple kill, just think about the Vayne, man. Just think about the Vayne.
So it looks like Vayne so far is going for the kind of the old school main build. You see another initiation of the Dragon.
The Ahri's getting caught out, Ignite going down, and Wiraji going to get credit for the kill. AHGL popping his ultimate once again, and this is going to give Amazon the opportunity for complete Dragon control. Rolling Tides being popped just as a precautionary measure, and this is going to be another Dragon coming out for Amazon. KT Flash getting the vision with the ball. 18 minutes in, though. Actually, I think they're not quite sure. Amazon isn't quite sure what they want to do because they know they were able to push someone out. But Tomato Orange getting picked out, and the Dragon steal, though, from Tomato Orange. That was a great play by him, and no further kills. Tomato Orange going very low, but he's escaped the Rise for now.
Tomato Orange with the Piltover Peacemaker burgling away that Dragon. There you go, guys. Was able to just steal that away. You don't see that very often. AD carries, they don't get a whole lot of big objective steals, and to do it with the Piltover Peacemaker, huge props to Tomato Orange.
It was well done by Tomato Orange, and DJC is doing a great job on his own, owning this lane. That's going to be turret number 1 for Amazon. That top turret going down, and Singed, he's got the teleport. He's just going to want to stay in that top lane, be a nuisance, and just run away. As the shotgun goes down onto Wiraji, there are 3 members, now 4 members of Google, and that is a cleanup, if I've ever seen one, of a Rise. And Google looking to make their move off of that.
At no point could he actually move his champion. Like, he got hit by the command Shockwave, and then the Stranglethorns popped him up, and then Nautilus was there to root him. He literally, at that point, by the time he realized he was caught, he was done. If he had his flash, it wouldn't have even mattered. He was done for. And Google are going to try to take advantage of that and grab down the second tower of the game. They will successfully do so mid-outer going down.
It was solid coordination by Google that allowed them to pick up that kill, and it was great experience to allow them to pick up the advantage off of that kill. That is so important to watch. It doesn't matter if you get a kill. It doesn't matter if you get a triple kill. It matters what you do with that triple kill to get those objectives, and they're going to turn that single kill into 2 turrets now. 3 turrets to 1 as we approach the 20-minute mark. 27,000 gold to Amazon's 26,000, and the buff battle begins as Wither gets put down onto Tomato Orange. Bully has the red buff. Let's see what he's going to be able to do with this. Wiraji already has the Banshee Veil. That's been a pretty early pickup from him consistently, and considering the match damage coming out from KT Flash, I'm not that surprised. Wiraji getting grabbed out. The Rolling Tides going in, bouncing every single member up. DJC pops the Ghost, pops the Insanity Potion, but he is completely deterred, rooted in place with a Nautilus Anchor. And this buff just keeps running back and forth. It has no idea what to do as Ravenite grabbing HGL, and the Unstoppable Force and the Shockwave combination. That's the wombo combo we were looking for. Ace in the hole going down, being face blocked by DJC. 1-4-0 right now. Yari is doing his best to zone out Bully, as Bully really can't do a whole lot. He's out of mana as DJC gets grabbed again. Ravenite has been spot on with those hooks.
Yeah, HGL can't afford to get hooked by Nautilus again. I mean, he simply can't. If they're going to look to actually apply any pressure in this map at all, he needs to be able to tumble out of that every single time. The fact that he got caught, and that's, we saw exactly what we were talking about. He got caught out by that, and he was like, okay, Cleanse, just run away. I'll be fine. No, Unstoppable Force, Shockwave, and then the Command Dissonance was actually what picked up the kill. Just so much power coming out, and that's the catch strength of Google. If they find anybody out of position that doesn't have just 4,000 HP, they're probably going to go down.
Yeah, you can't really press the flash button if it's grayed out for the duration until your screen is grayed out.
Yeah.
So well played by Google, and that was what we were talking about, where Google wants to fight. They were able to get the grab, get the hook that they wanted. They set up the Unstoppable Force into the ball delivery service. That is a devastating combination, and Rolante doing his best to eat up some cupcakes, giving vision, but the blue buff, which was the original goal for Google, being picked up by KT Flash, getting some more cycles. That's what Oriana's all about. Just got to get those cycles.
You know, some people may say that it's a little bit ungentlemanly, that it lacks a bit of sportsmanship to try to kill a champion like that when they can't control any of their movements, but personally, maybe you can call me a ruffian, but I think it's just fine. I think they can do it every single time.
Malphus, you're a ruffian, but I still love you.
Oh. Oh.
But enough about that. Back into the game. 22 minutes in, 8 kills apiece, 3 turrets to 1, 29,000 gold. We're in a bit of a lull as Amazon does their best to recover from that devastating fight. And Google, they're just getting general, actually forcing a flash out from Rolante. The hook just missing. That is so scary. Nautilus has seen a lot more play lately. Let's talk a little bit more about this jungle Nautilus, because he fell out of grace in the beginning of Season 3 as other junglers, I think it was the Holy Trinity of Bruisers, came into effect, and then they fell out of favor as well, and now Nautilus, he's back in a big way.
Yeah, it works really, really well. He's kind of a compositional pick. KT Flash gonna get withered.
KT Flash getting withered, pops the ball. Rolling Tide going as well. Boley getting caught out in the shockwave with AHGL. AHGL getting knocked up, getting double knocked up. He has the ultimate pop. Boley's gonna go down. Tomato Orange rolling in, getting the damage. Yarius getting the kill onto AHGL, 2-0 so far. Ravenite getting the lockdown onto Wiraje, forcing the flash as well. He is out of there, but in the top lane, DJC continuing to be the Shen nuisance. 152 minion kills. He's got the Rod of Ages. He's got the Home Guard Mercury Tread so that he can go back, teleport in at lightning speed, and Frozen Fire might actually drop.
He's gonna be final down when the hook goes out one more time.
Hook going out, Rolante, Vanessa getting caught up with the bubble onto 2 people. It won't be enough. Tomato Orange with the red buff, burning down the mermaid. I think I smell fish cooking.
I want to give a shout out to Frozen Fire that he actually used the ultimate to cancel the Singe teleport. Singe is trying to come in on that fight. He had a minion right in the middle of all the action. If he could have come in, if he could have popped the ultimate and run around and do lots of good work in that fight, then he would have been able to turn that around so incredibly quickly. But Frozen Fire was like, no, my team has a huge advantage down there right now. I'm not winning this 1v1, but that's fine. As long as they're picking up kills, as long as they're picking up towers, we're going to come out ahead. He was able to successfully forestall that teleport, and just like that, Google are able to extend their gold lead. They're at about 3,000 right now.
And they're potentially looking for a pick. DJC in the front. He's cool with getting picked. He's going to be able to just run away, no problem. The amount of burst that comes out, that's an interesting thing to mention about the Google fight, that Google has a very fast fight. Their fight is going to last about 4 to 5 seconds. On the side of Amazon, they want to go for the elongated fight because the longer Vayne is in a fight, the stronger she's going to get as Google picks up their first, I believe, their first dragon. No, their second after that Caitlyn steal, their second dragon of this Game 3. I can't believe I forgot that. That was insane.
It was so, I mean, but both sides actually look like they're trying to find an engagement. I mentioned before that Nautilus is kind of a composition-reliant champion. One of the best things to pair up with Nautilus is something that makes him faster. You see when he's got the boots of mobility, I can't remember which one of the LCS casters said, but they said that he's built like Muhammad Ali, but he runs like Usain Bolt. He's just so incredibly fast, and when you throw down the command dissonance from Orianna as well, he gets so much more move speed, and you see catches like this.
Getting set out, there's a double knock-up. HGL, it doesn't even hit the floor before he dies. DJC getting caught out as well. He's a little bit tankier, so he's not going to get completely bursted, but now Amazon is on the defensive. Boley popping his ultimate, but he's popping it defensively. He has to get out of there. The Strangle Thorns were already used, and the Grasping Roots just being used to try and chase someone down. Now Yara's just using auto attacks at this point. The Wither being popped out onto Tomato Orange, but Google loves this fight. They're rolling in. They have the potential speed boost, but Wiraje dropping Frozen Fire, and this is the extended exchange that Amazon is looking for. Wither coming out from Yaris, DJC popping the super mega adhesive, but the Grasping Roots are gonna prevent Yaris from getting caught out. KT Flash getting snared, and the bubble missing everyone. Ace in the hole, and as the dust settles, it is going to be a 1-for-1, so HGL being burned down, but Amazon showing that despite their hyper carry being knocked out of the fight, they still got some firepower.
I'm so impressed with KT Flash's Orianna in this game. He's showing so much of the utility of what this game is of. It's not just about getting good command shockwaves and knock everybody up. It's about really, really clutch command protects. It's about really, really clutch command attacks that reposition the ball in the correct position to get those slows down, to get that ultimate down. And he almost was able to get Frozen Fire out alive on the other side of that. The Ignite was burning down. The Ignite just had a little bit too much damage. Command Protect wasn't shielding up enough. But Frozen Fire, as much as they used on him, for him to survive as long as he did is a testament to how tanky Malphite can become. You see, he's got the Warden's Mail, he's got a Giant Spell. There's another Chain Vest in there as well. So we'll see if he's actually going for the Frozen Heart or the Random Enzonement. Either one would be pretty solid pickups because right now it's all about taking out the Vayne.
And Google is definitely looking to push as Ravenite goes in. Haha, he steals it. Oh man, what a jerk. I think he remembers what happened last game where Boley Smite stole away. He says, yeah, I remember. I never forget.
Go ahead and smite that out.
Submarine men never forget, Malthus.
Of course not. Little minor guys. I keep getting distracted by that spinning drill bit. Just look at it go. It's captivating.
It's just going. It really is. It's completely mesmerizing. What is also memorizing is how much Tomato Orange has in terms of money in the bank as well as items. He's got the Infinity Edge, which is a huge buy on Caitlyn, as well as the ship, but he hasn't gotten any lifesteal, which is really interesting. from my perspective, because typically when you're a Caitlyn, you want to kite out and then just lifesteal away and work your way through. And I wonder if that's going to hurt Google in the long run as we work down into this mid game in the lane lane, because this is where Caitlyn is actually at her quote-unquote weakest.
Right. I think what they're trying to do is they're kind of betting on getting these catches again and again and again. And so far, they've been getting one again and again and again. The Raven Knight has been so on point with his Nautilus hooks. And if they do that, it's not so much about the lifesteal, it's about the front-loaded burst damage. That's why you're also seeing a static shiv instead of a Phantom Dancer. That's not a very common item to pick up on a Caitlyn, as she really thrives off of that crit chance. Instead, just going to go with the static shiv and then going for the last Whisper next after that. Just trying to, okay, we get caught out, we got the pick, we got someone caught. I want my first right click to do absolutely as much damage as possible.
And Frozen Fire really excited to not have to lane against DJC. Gonna try and take this top turret for his own. Say that he was able to get the lane, and a minion being hooked. Raven Knight misplaying for the first time. He hasn't really been on KT Flash, getting withered out. There's the bounce onto 3 members of the Google squad, and Amazon takes this as their cue. Here comes the teleport from DJC. The Stranglethrown throw there, and the full-on disengage into the shockwave from Google. So they saw what was going to happen, and they were out of there. Flash being burned from KT Flash, and the Grasping Roots preventing. They're trying to burn out this Insanity Potion as long as they can. The Ghost being popped as well. There's Raven Knight grabbing down onto AHGL. There's the Unstoppable Force as well. AHGL being chased by a Hamster Ball Nautilus. Will he be able to go down? He's kiting as best as he can. There's the ace in the hole. Tomato Orange from downtown on a killing spree. And DJC gonna get dropped with a double kill. Grasping Roots. This is now all Google. 3-4-0 now. Flashing red bars on the side of Google, but they don't care. They're gonna keep going. Rolante is out of mana, but he is not out of summoner spells. He is able to get out of there, but at the end of the day, that is a commanding counter engage from Google. That is the scary thing about that Unstoppable Force and the kiting ability of this squad as they're going for the Baron.
This is the Raven Knight show. Again and again and again, these Nautilus hooks are catching so much health. He got Weak out again. Vayne just had to try to stay alive, get to the back of the fight, and just try to keep herself out. Cleanse and Flash both burned. Neither one were enough. And if Google take down this Baron, they're going to be in a commanding position to win this game.
As Frozen Fire zones out Foley on his own. That is Baron. That is a huge win for Google, and we'll have to see what they're going to do with it, because it's not about what the Baron is. It's how you use it, Malphas.
Exactly. They're going to have the sustain. They're going to have the additional ability, power, and attack damage. And at this point, they can just siege up and force fights. We've seen how incredibly effective their fight is. If they want to split push, they can do that too, because they actually have teleport advantage right now. Frozen Fire has his TP up. Singe just used his in that last fight when they weren't really able to get all that much out of it. So they're not going to have that split push power. Either one are very valid options for Google, but you have to think, as well as these team fights have been going for them, as well as Raven Knight has been able to land these dredge lines with the speed boost coming out from KT Flash, they're going to look to just group up and push into mid lane and try to see what kind of fight they can force.
As the mid lane being pushed out, Wither going out from Bully onto Frozen Fire. Frozen Fire doesn't care at this point, though. He's got a Sunfire cape, he's got a Warden's Mail. He doesn't really care for Nasus auto attacks, especially jungle Nasus auto attacks. And something I want to point out real quick is, let's see how the Siphoning Strike is coming along. That's going to deal about 165 bonus damage now. Not necessarily the truck that you would expect as Tomato Orange nets in. It's going to be a Dragon now for Google. I expect to see similarly deliberate play from Google that we saw from Amazon in that game too.
Yeah, they're just shy of a 7,000 gold advantage right now. Google are controlling this as well as they can. Raji going to unload on Frozen Fire, but he's not going to be particularly concerned about that one.
And Frozen Fire is going to be able to take that turret. He doesn't care about magic damage. No siree, as KT Flash sets the ball. He knows where he wants it to go, and he knows where he wants Amazon to not go. It's almost like the Guardian. You shall not pass.
You shall not pass. Tomato Orange. This is the part of the game where Caitlyn becomes really terrifying. The right clicks are hitting really hard. There's the last whisper, but it's just about the tower siege. You can't engage because of the trap and the net, and Polly is going to find that out the hard way.
This disengage is really allowing Google to choose their engagements. If they want to go for something, they absolutely can, but the isolation that Amazon wants to get, they're just not getting it.
And once again, it's the Caitlyn. I can't stress that enough. Frozen Fire, he's still up in the top lane. They are choosing to utilize their TP advantage. Frozen Fire's ultimate is back off cooldown. It looks like he's going to rejoin the rest of the team in the mid lane. If they catch someone, that could have been it right there. But that dredge line's not going to win.
That could have definitely been game. And the amount of damage coming out from KT Flash, taking a look at his ability power now, he's got about almost 400 ability power. Got the Athens Unholy Grail as well, so the cooldown reduction as well as the extra mana regen coming out that will really spike him and allow him to extend these fights. Him and Kaylin are the two main go-to damage dealers in general, but they need to make sure that they take care of themselves because the crowd control and the peel that's coming out from this Google squad is very concentrated on catching, and they have to choose. They have to choose. They're either going to catch someone or they're going to disengage. And if they choose wrong, Amazon's going to jump all over it.
Look at how big Tomato Orange is right now. Even if Bully is just trying to be that like the big boss dog and run the front, take a couple of the AD carry shots while his team applies pressure, he can't even do that because Kate is hitting so hard. The tower's getting chunked down further and further, and Google, they're content to use the Baron buff as best they can, just siege up and see what they can pick up in terms of tower damage.
And that's what we see so often. Those folks with the Baron buff, they don't really necessarily want to go for a full-on engage. They just want to be able to get free tower hits, and as soon as that turret goes down, here comes Frozen Fire. They were definitely talking about that in voice chat because the ball is on Frozen Fire. He's looking for the fight. Raven Knight just missing AHGL for one of the first times he's missed him. And the Spirit Fire goes out, and we are back to the waiting game. Where will the initiate come from? Google wants it to be Raven Knight, and they want to grab AHGL, but right now they'll settle for a potential inhibitor as Frozen Fire gets caught out. Tide bouncing 3 members, and the Rise ultimate going out. The AHGL popping his ultimate as well, so that's not going to be down for the next fight. And the disengage, once again, so many cooldowns burned for Amazon, and that's going to be a free inhibitor for Google. First inhibitor of this game, and they are sitting pretty at an 8,000 gold lead.
Yeah, Google are just playing this so well. They're just trying to slow roll this game as best they can. They're not going to give anything back. Frozen Fire is just hanging out on the other side. As you mentioned, they didn't use a single one of their ultimates, and their ultimates have been the thing that's been carrying them through this game so much. The dredge line into the giant stack of ultimate combinations. Every time that dredge line goes on to Hui Gao, it's just been incredibly painful.
As Frozen Fire backing off, let's see what he's going to buy next. He could potentially get a Rando and Zoman, and against a Vayne, that really could be devastating. Vayne is paper thin, and she relies so much on her mobility in these team fights to be able to make something happen. Frozen Fire, he's taking his time on this one, and it looks like he's aiming for an Abyssal Scepter now.
This is an interesting pickup. He's just concerned about how much damage Singe and Rise are doing to him. Singe just picked up the Rod of Ages. He's also got the Rylai's Crystal Scepter there, so that's going to offer a lot of kite potential. And Amazon are going to have to rely on that one. Good kite is something that's really, really strong against hard engaged teams if they don't get their full initiation off. If they only get part of their initiation off, and then they actually have to chase you, and they have to chase you through Singe poison that's dealing damage and also slowing you over time, it's going to be really, really tough for them to catch that second engagement, to get that second trap down, to try to get some sort of second CC.
It really is, and the Amazon squad pushing out this mid lane, doing their best to try to handle those super minions. Baron buff is off now, so we're going to be seeing probably one of the next main engages on the Baron. And Google, they know what's at stake. The stakes are exceptionally high. For those of you that are just joining us, this is Game 3 of the After Hours Gaming League. Google and Amazon tied at 1 apiece, but Google, they had a bit of a commanding lead, and they still do. 9,000 gold now as we approach the 36-minute mark. 15 kills to 9, 7 turrets to 2. A very fed Caitlyn and a very farmed Orianna. And the Wombo combos coming out from Google have been completely devastating. AHGL getting caught out a little more often than he wanted to. Amazon, they got to make something happen, and they got to make something happen now as Google pushes and pressures this top turret.
Yeah, we're in a little bit of a lull here as we're waiting for the Baron to respawn and try to get something else going on. Both teams are aware of what's at stake here. This is it. This is the final game. $5,000 for charity on the line. Whichever team can pick this up is going to take it all home, and they'll get the ultimate bragging rights for being the Season 3 champions of the After Hours Gaming League.
And those bragging rights are really worth so much, as Boley actually popping his Ghost but nothing happening. He's been doing that a lot this entire game. He's popping the ghost, looking for an engage, but the amount of kiting potential coming out from the Google squad with the grasping roots, the Caitlyn net, as well as the Orianna slow, especially KT Flash's slow, has prevented Bully from being effective as he was in that game too. He got that early dragon, that was pretty awesome, but it just wasn't enough as the teleport comes in from Frozen Fire, and he was able to get the Abyssal as well as the top inhibitor turret goes down. Now it's just a matter of time. Google's going to wait for mid inhibitor to push, and then they're going to roll in. Wiraje doesn't have his Banshee Bell anymore. Let's see what Google's going to do.
If they lose the second inhibitor, they're going to be in a really rough spot because they won't be able to contest the Baron at all. And Google will be able to just push this down. WeGo gets hooked again!
HGL gets hooked up. He gets double knocked up. He doesn't land again. This is like the ballet of death as Bully pops his ultimate. DJC pops his ultimate. Both of these tanky dudes getting stranglethorned out, but DJC is just getting destroyed by Tomato Orange. That massive amount of damage is paying dividends. That is going to be a kill for KT Flash, and Google has got this game completely under control. They are taking down the Nexus turrets, and ladies and gentlemen, it looks like it's only going to be a matter of time because we have your League of Legends After Hours Gaming League champions, Google!
Just absolutely incredible play coming out there. Raven Knight landing, just dredge line after dredge line after dredge line. He was always able to find those opportunities. He was always able to find those gaps in the defense. That's really tough. With Singed and Nasus up in the front line, it's really tough to actually be able to land a dredge line onto a champion that has as much mobility as Vayne. But he was able to find those windows. He's able to do it again and again. And when he did, the follow-up was always there. Google were always ready to initiate at the drop of a dime, and they took that game in convincing fashion. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Google, and they have just won $5,000 to the charity of their choice.
Charity water.
Charity water. They're going to be bringing potable water to people in developing countries. That's an awesome cause. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We are not done yet, though, because when we come back, we are going to be having the awards ceremony with a fantastically comically oversized check and day 9. So don't go anywhere.